Appendix 2. Neoplatonism and Economics. A persistent belief that makes for socialism is a belief in the conflict of interests. All forms of socialism agree that there is an inescapable conflict of interest between the varying elements of society, between capital and labour, farm and city, producer and consumer, and so on. These inescapable conflicts necessitate the continual intervention of the state, for otherwise society would be in a condition of civil war. The state thus becomes the central agency of society, its coercive arm for the prevention of the explosive forces of the conflict of interests. The other opinion holds instead to a harmony of interests. The interests of all aspects of society, capital and labour, farm and city, and producer and consumer, are in reality interlocking and interdependent. Conflict is introduced by statist intervention in behalf of one party or another, while ostensibly for the welfare of all. To harm, limit, or cripple by controls one aspect of a society is to damage all ultimately because of their interdependence. The harmony of interests requires, therefore, a freedom from statist intervention in order to function. The roots of the belief in the conflict of interests are dualistic and Neoplatonist. If reality is divided into mind and matter, two alien and conflicting forms of being, their dialectical unity represents a continual state of tension and conflict. It is then inevitable that the essence of life is a conflict of interests. This conflict will be so deeply embedded into the structure of being that life will be a continual state of civil war, class against class, group against group, mind against body, and so on. The civil war will be within man and between men. If, however, Neoplatonism is denied and the biblical doctrine of creation is affirmed, then there is an essential harmony in all created being. God made it wholly good. The fall introduced conflict, but the conflict is moral, not metaphysical. It is the rebellion of sinful men against God. The conflict is between man and God, and this conflict creates a conflict in men and between men. However, it is an unnecessary conflict, not a necessary one. It is a willful, sinful conflict, a conflict by choice, not by necessity. When man is at peace with God, he is also at peace with himself and with men of good will. The basic harmony of interests, which is a part of God's purpose at creation, is then again in force. Man, who had warred against God and that harmony, now rejoices in it and prospers because of it. The belief of socialists in an ultimate conflict of interests is a metaphysical presupposition, just as a belief in the harmony of interests is a metaphysical and religious presupposition. When men lose faith in the doctrine of creation, they either abandon belief in the harmony of interests or else hold it as a rootless and sterile principle. Having denied its foundation, they cannot successfully maintain the conclusions. The doctrine of the harmony of interests also has an implication for prayer. Most Christians pray in terms of a conflict of interests with God, as though what they desire as a Christian is somehow in conflict with God's purpose and an exception to it is being asked. The fact, however, is that the more a Christian grows in grace, the more obedient he is to God's law word, the greater the harmony of interests between man and God. The Christian should pray in terms of this harmony of interests. This has been a Chalcedon Foundation production, produced by Grace Community School and Nicene Covenant Church, published by Ross House Books. Copyright 1973, 1978, 2008. Mark R. Rushdoony. If you have enjoyed this audiobook, be sure to visit chalcedon.edu for more books and audiobooks by Rousas John Rushdoony.